Okay, chat. This deck is one we had played in the past, and it was the end result of starting with a Delver of Secrets deck, and then eventually we cut the Delver of Secrets for other good cards. So we've got Dragon Rage Chandler, and Unholy Heat, and Expressive Iteration, and then some other good interactive bits. Some Inquisition, some Bloodchief's Thirst, some Dorets, and Arcanist as extra threats. So let's pop on into some matches of Magic with this one and see how it feels today. Now, our curve tops out at 3, so I'd much rather have a bunch of untapped lands than untapped lands. Played 6 matches this morning. I've been turn 1 Thoughtseize in every single one of them. God bless. Posing Luris deck, so statistically food or auras. How much better of a format would Historic be if they nerfed this card? And by nerfed, I mean nerfed again. Perfect. This is why we Unholy Heated at end of turn, so we could spike another removal spell here and kill the Spirit Dancer. Well, no, you don't have to nerf all the companions again. This is the only companion that's too good, shit. I think I just open on Consider. Huh? Yeah, I think this is a keep Dreadhorde Arcanist angle. I'm gonna take their Staggering Insight because it threatens more card advantage. Yeah, one good way to potentially nerf this is make it so you can't have non-creature spells with mana value that are higher. Thanks for the follow, Joffrey. Oh, that's so brutal. Well, shoot. Okay. The problem is, if I draw Thirst and play it this turn, I can't also play Arcanist. So I think I'm just Arcanist tapped land here. This not being Fatal Push could potentially cost us this game. Well, I guess they don't have that much damage on this yet. They missed last words. It's gonna get +4 here, so it'll be 7. Opponent's rate of play has definitely been glacial. What's going on, Rose? Thanks for the 11 months. Welcome back. So we'll Thirst the Spirit Dancer here. They'll get to sack their Selfless Savior to save it. And then hopefully we live through the next turn in order to thirst this from hand. I think that's accurate, Lambton, but Helix doesn't really see play in the format right now. I think a big part of why the Arcanist decks have largely been pushed out of Historic is the prevalence of the Phoenix deck has made main deckable Graveyard Hate like Soul Guide Lantern a lot more playable. So Arcanist has kind of like incidentally been made worse by virtue of the fact that yeah, you don't exactly. You don't want to be the second best graveyard deck. Hand, library, exile. This is indestructible till end of turn, so this can't kill it just yet. They have a way to make this unblockable. Obviously, we die, but otherwise we'll just get to jump in. I'm gonna jump Darcy because this gives me the flexibility to block with later. I'm not sacrificing this to draw a card because being able to exile their graveyard in the face of Aluris is a lot of value. We'll get to attack with Dreadhoarder. For fuck's sake, you've gotta be kidding me. Enchantments deck draws all of its creatures and protection against your removal deck. That's the third dog actually, and the third Spirit Dancer. For those of you keeping track at home. So, the decision between Blood Chief's Thirst and Fatal Push largely comes down to the fact that Fatal Push does not have a text box against blue-white control decks, and Blood Chief's Thirst does. Is the TLDR there. Okay, we slogged through it all, and we might actually be coming out the other side here. Luris letting us get some grind in here. You were one of the few that felt like there was potential in the Magic ARPG. It was not particularly well received. It definitely had a lot of rough edges. I think I'm playing Soul Guide Lantern for the turn. Showed 37 months, Rudy. I mean, the Seb stuff is kind of old news, like midway through last week. You could find some posts from me on Twitter if you want my opinion on the subject. I agree with what Gremlin said. There's potential for a Magic ARPG, just not that one. This ain't it, Chief. I'm just gonna go ahead and draw a card. And they do have a Spell Pierce here. I'm just gonna chill. We're pretty far ahead. We've successfully stabilized despite there being infinite selfless saviors. Our kill all the things deck has successfully killed all of the things this game it's looking like. So we actually don't have that many sideboard cards for a matchup like this, which I think makes sense. Our main deck is decently well set up here. Extra Soul Guide Lantern sounds good. I'm going to trim these Footfall Craters. I'm going to bring in Davriel's Withering as good cheap spot removal. Braid sounds good as more ways to skill things. We'll trim a Consider. It's hard to get caught with too many cantrips in our hand. Yeah, we did. We ended up having a back of Dreadhorde Arcanist. The fact that we got to double up all of our removal spells there is a really big deal. This could be a matchup where the Thoughtseizes come in. Having a discard spell in our opener has a lot of value. We do this. Well, obviously our opponent had a lot of threats that last game. On average, getting to catch one of their few threats out is pretty powerful. I am going to be interested to see if we get any more historic remastered sets, or if the new direct to Alchemy digital stuff is going to replace those. Hey, Joffrey, glad you're enjoying Alchemy. I am too. We're one of the few very pro-Alchemy Magic Arena spaces on the internet. Honestly, I would like rebalances more than I would like anthologies. I would like it if they gave the Teferi Time Raveler treatment to a bunch of different cards. I mean, all of them would be nice to have eventually. I am not super excited about the particular card they chose to rebalance and unban, but I am very excited by the prospect of them rebalancing and unbanning in general. So while Teferi Time Raveler definitely wouldn't have been my first pick to do that too, I'm glad they're starting with that. I'm actually gonna go ahead and jump block here because I would like to deny them the card draw. Hopefully this is just Spell Pierce and not Kamatra's Blessing. Yeah, looks like they have Spell Pierce. How do you rebalance Brainstorm? I don't know. There could also be something to said where they talked about how they don't want to rebalance iconic Magic cards. I think Brainstorm falls under that category for sure. Just you, or is Twitch dropping frames? Well, you're the only one who's mentioned it. I'm not dropping frames on my end. Got me. Do they have double Spell Pierce? Okay. Sure. I don't have a Lantern to stop their Luris this time through, which is scary. For what it's worth, the thread of mine on Twitter about Seb was retweeted by some very predominant right-wing people in the Twitter sphere that had like tens to hundreds of thousands of followers. So it's definitely rattling around the right-wing rage machine. I think I'm in for a Withering. Yeah, I think with the enchantment run here, we're probably dead. I do not have any experience with the WWE IP prior to the super card segments that we're doing, so I'm not particularly attached to the characters in the game, but the numbers game underneath the characters slash skin seems pretty reasonable. We played it for a couple hours on Friday, and we're going to be doing it at the end of the streams this week. I'd love an expressive iteration on top of my deck, thanks. Yeah, this dying with the Sentinel's Eyes on it means they get to fire that up and draw another card here too, which is pretty good for them. Hopefully this expressive iteration can propel us into some stiff. Entrancing Melody was how they took our Arcanist here. For those asking, probably a card that's pretty good in the mirror, I have to imagine. And library exile. And I can actually ditch the Dorat here because I'll be able to recast it with Luris. This pause could be a third Spell Pierce, but it could also just be the Selfless Savior. This opponent's been taking a lot of time in this match. And library exile. I went 5 and 2 in the Ring tournament. If you want to catch the full run, it is up on YouTube now. I think we got Auto Tapper. No, this was a black only land. It couldn't cast either of the iterations or the Dorat. Then we'll play Dorat out here. And then if we're really skillful, we'll get to mill something that we can cast with Luris off of these Surveils. Soul Guide Lantern would be great because it would trigger the Dorats. And let us get some card draw going. Yeah, I'm supposed to take the Abrade over random next turn. Yeah, I deserve that, I guess. Should I take? I think bidding the first one was fine. I probably should have kept the Abrade to have a guaranteed spell this turn to Surveil again. This is also a lethal threat at this point. Oh, well, they're not delirious anymore. I guess this will make them delirious. I couldn't kill the Arcanist yet. If I blocked the Dragon Rage Chandler, this has first strike. They'd have ordered these first, and they'd have killed these. So there was not a legal play that killed their thing. Yeah, perhaps I'm supposed to leave the Chandlers back on defense this turn. Think we're supposed to leave the Luris back for now. I can't believe we're gonna lose this game. It's wild. I guess if they draw a blank again next turn, we're technically not dead yet. We block this here. We go to 1. We stay at 1 because of lifelink. Full attacks kills me. I'm gonna give you a 10-minute timeout to learn how combat math works. Yeah, I think by... Let's go to game 3. We'll get to play game 3 on the play. Obviously, flooding out feels a little bit bad there, but I think the mistake that I made was that turn I ditch an Abrade and a Davriel's Withering. Ditching the Withering was correct, but I should have kept the Abrade to kind of guarantee... I should have to guarantee that I had the what's it called on top for the following turn. I'm not sure what you're saying, but you're saying it doesn't matter, so I'm not going to try and understand like it is. That doesn't matter. Like, the people pointing out that we missed a thing that didn't matter, it doesn't matter, so stop being Twitch chat and bringing up the thing that doesn't matter. When you're being reflective of your games, try and be reflective of the parts that could actually impact the outcome. Our start here is very good. Bin this non-land, please. I'm actually going to take the Adanto here. Arcanist on top sounds great to rebuy my removal spells and such. All 1680. Thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. I think I want to just dig for my lands. Not quite, Dwight. I'm like a 5 out of 10, maybe a 4 out of 10. But Declan was up sick all night last night, so I didn't really sleep, which is probably contributing more than anything. You know how that goes with small children. Haley was sick on Thursday, and then I was sick last night, and Jake was sick, and now Declan. And just kind of rips its way through the household. Anything that's not a land is getting bin tier. Hand, library, exile. Oh, fuck, that doesn't make red mana. Oh, we're talking and clicking at the same time. I left black up on purpose because I wanted to be able to cast a Bloodchief's Thirst if we drew it. That's super unfortunate the way that worked out. You considered upgrading to illness-resistant children. Well, the two that can be vaccinated are vaccinated. Yeah, new set Thursday. I think we're dead, fam. Our start was really good, but our 3-color mana base ended up our 3-color mana base ended up biting us. How was the end of Unite? I don't have anything particularly memorable to say, which is probably a good thing on average in Unite. Gotta kill this one, so I can't give protection to the Spirit Dancer to kill us next turn. We're dead to a Spell Pierce here, unfortunately. Yeah, so this can give protection from red now, which means we can't block anymore. lot of little sequencing decisions in games 2 and 3 there. Almost assuredly something we could have done differently. Not any single point that jumps out at me as, hey, this was the point. Maybe the fact that I had the Arcanist in my hand already game 3 means that I'm supposed to keep the red land untapped to just guarantee that any land can let us play the Arcanist on 4. If the Arcanist comes down on 4, we probably have a window to take their thing off the table before they assemble the protection they did. What's going on, Sile? Thanks for the 40 months. I mean, the game did ultimately end with one of Magic's worst mechanics rearing its head, meaning we couldn't block. I'm really still very surprised that they brought back protection. I feel like that was a pretty big mistake on the design team's part. I think the game was much better as a whole without that being a mechanic involved. Let's do Darcy, and then we can Soul Guide here. Guess we'll just leave that on top. Yeah, the old 4-mana no plays historic green deck special. Thanks for the 3 years, Jace. Welcome back. Okie doke. Yeah, there's a good chance that we get deleted here in game 2 and I just turn this deck video off and we try and play something else. They paid 2 mana for that. We should be able to Blood Chief's Thirst it. Mood. I'm supposed to have been that, just looking for interaction. And Library Exile. Hopefully their collecting company isn't too particularly good this turn.